What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy JRSD here, and I am your coach of the Seattle Pidgeots, of course. We're here for QDL, the Quarantine Draft League, week number 2. So we won, spoilers, week 1 versus Bailey. It was a close game, came down to a 1-0, if I remember correctly. This week, we were going up against Tempura and the Tempura Boys. So his team consists of, this is Mega Diancie, not regular Diancie, whatever. Mega Diancie, Toxapex, Kartana, Slowking, Diggersby, Galvantula, Appleton, Ditto, Salazzle, Zorua, and Vespiquen. So immediately, Ditto is kind of good versus my team because I have a lot of setup threats, and I have a lot of Pokemon that actually beat themselves. Nidoking, super effective against itself. Tornadus can't take Hurricanes from itself. Sharpedo won't be able to take moves from itself. Turtonator, super effective against itself with Dragon moves. Drifblim as well. If I had Aggron with Earthquake, it would be super effective against itself as well. So I had to be careful with that. Diggersby, not too big of a problem. I have an Aggron and Grassy Terrain, which basically shuts down its Earthquake and normal stab moves, but still have to play around it kind of carefully, I guess. Mega Diancie, big problem. If it had 4 attacks, like Rock, Fairy, Fire, and Psychic type moves, like Mystical Fire, Psychic, Diamond Storm, Moonblast, it basically super effectively hit everything on my team except for Vaporeon. Vaporeon, though, terrible matchup. Galvantula's there, Appleton's there, Kartana's there. It gets outstalled by Toxapex. It gets beaten by Diggersby. Gets beaten by Slowking. Salazzle's really the only thing in Diancie that it can handle, but I thought other things did that better. So let's get into the team. First off, Mega Aggron, Heavy Slam, Stomping Tantrum, Taunt, and Toxic. Taunt is there for the Toxapex, as we naturally outspeed it. So is Stomping Tantrum, of course. Does not get reduced like Earthquake does. In the Grassy Terrain, Heavy Slam hits everything for great damage. And then Toxic is just Toxics, basically, in case Slowking or something like that. Next up, Heavy Duty Boots, kind of support Tornadus. Outspeeds everything on his team. The Salazzle, I think, is the fastest thing on his team. And then just Hurricane's pretty good versus his team. Once Toxapex is gone, there's not really switching to Tornadus in any way, pretty much. And it's just a good Gluamon, has U-turn, has knockoff Defogger for the team this week. And next up, we're bringing Lumberry Rillaboom again. This time more of a setup, though. Bulk up, U-turn, Drain Punch, and Grassy Glide. I can bulk up on the Toxapex without fearing getting burnt by a Scald. And then if I get to like +1/+2 kind of thing, his offensive threats like Diggersby and Kartana don't take me out, basically. And then Drain Punch is there for the Kartana. Grassy Glide hits literally everything else. And then we have Shukaberry, Nidoking. Shukaberry is there for the Earth Power on the Diancie. It is there for the Diggersby, possibly, and it is also there for Ditto against itself for Earth Power. But Earth Power, Sludge Wave, Thunderbolt for the Toxapex and the Slowking, and then Stealth Rock just in case. Bringing Klefki for the first time. Leftovers with Prankster, Flash Cannon, Spikes, Magnet Rise, and Thunder Wave. Magnet Rise, basically the things that want to threaten it can't really hit it unless they hit it with a ground type move. Unless it's Mega Diancie with Mystical Fire. And it doesn't kill me because I'm specially defensive, so that's okay. And so Magnet Rise avoids that, obviously. Thunder Wave to slow things down. Spikes is just there for support. And then finally, We have Game Shark coming for the first time, Life Orbed, 3 attacks with Protect, and Adamant Nature. So this at +1 outspeeds everything on his team, including, I think, at +2 it outspeeds Scarf Cortana and stuff like that. So very good in the late game versus his team. Yeah, so going into the match, I'm gonna try a thing. Let me know how this sounds for you. Actually, no, I'll do it by myself. Whatever, it's all good. Whoa. Big spoilers there. You didn't see that. You didn't see anything. Yeah, so he brings the Diancie, the Kartana, the Diggersby, the Galvantula, the Toxapex, and the Ditto. Basically everything I expected. I could have seen the Salazzle coming, and I could have seen the Slowking coming over the Ditto, but this is pretty much what I expected. Kind of offensive threats plus webs plus Toxapex to kind of deal with my threats, even though it doesn't really deal with my threats, as you'll see. So I lead... music off. I lead with Nidoking. He leads with Ditto. And he straight transforms into my Nidoking. Obviously, he now knows my set. He doesn't know my item, but I figured Tornadus is pretty safe here because he's not going to Sludge Wave it, and he's not going to Thunderbolt. He's going to Earth Power, pretty much, or Stealth Rock. So Torn is pretty free, and if he is choiced, then he can't touch me if he goes for Earth Power, and if he's not choiced, then I outspeed. Like if he's not Scarfed. Then I outspeed and I can U-turn out, which is exactly what I do as he goes into Toxapex. Turns out he's Rocky Helmet, which is a pain. I go into Nidoking knowing that if he's not specially defensive, he takes a butt ton, and that's exactly what happens. He takes a butt ton from Earth Power, and I know that I live 2 Scalds at least. So yeah, very worth to get Toxapex out of the way. With Nidoking there. Big threat, or big issue gone. Here he goes Diggersby. Obviously, he doesn't outspeed me unless he is Scarfed, I believe. But he would live on Earth Power, and he could Earthquake me pretty easily. So Rillaboom lived any normal hit that he wanted to throw off as well. And of course, Earthquake or Stomping Tantrum would not do anything to Rillaboom. As he does go for the Body Slam here, that does 50% as I recover with the grassy terrain. But here I can just go for Grassy Glide, and it's a guaranteed OHKO, unless he's a defensive set. So yeah, Grassy Glide is kind of crazy. And Rillaboom picks up its first KO of the season. He goes Galvantula. I pretty much wall this thing with the Nidoking, but it turns out he's actually very offensive. He's Modest Life Orb, which is insane. The amount of damage he did to me. But yeah, so he's going to be able to take out my Nidoking here. I didn't want to risk going Klefki and like resisting, but then he could just Thunder me and it would not be great. So yeah, he is Life Orb, takes out my Nidoking. Gets back to 93. I go Sharpedo here. I know after a speed boost, I will outspeed this thing and be able to OHKO it with Crunch or Waterfall. I think both did. And he is at 99. If he had crept like this thing or something similar on my team, the amount of HP made Waterfall and Crunch a roll. So I went for Waterfall, hoping to get the flinch if it didn't OHKO. But it turns out that it does OHKO. And this game, 10 turns in, there are 4 Pokemon down. And Sharpedo's in a really good position here. He goes Kartana, but it actually dies straight up to a close combat. The crit did not matter at all, unless he was max HP, max defense. So Sharpedo showing its worth here. He should have gone Ditto first, I think, just to threaten me out. But I guess he didn't know that I have close combat, I guess. So I'd Protect just to scout what move he wants to lock himself into. So he goes for close combat. And I'm like, okay, well, Torn can take 2, but if he happens to be not choiced, which I still wasn't 100% sure on, then he can just take out Torn after that, and it would be a problem. So I just let Sharpedo go down here as he goes for close combat again. And this allows me to get in Rillaboom and pretty much Grassy Glide. This or the Diancie will take a lot, so I do just that. He goes into Diancie. It does 95% from a non-Megad Diancie. Rillaboom is kind of crazy, so I just go for Grassy Glide again, and Rillaboom's going to be able to take out the Diancie. And yeah, so he's gonna. I also went into Rillaboom because I was thinking of going Torn after. I was thinking of U-turning and going Torn, but if he swapped into Diancie, Rillaboom can deal with it, and then Ditto transforming into the Rillaboom can't kill me. So he goes for U-turn. Obviously, he can't switch out, and I go for U-turn. Does more because he has less HP than me, and then I'm able to go into Torn. As long as I land this Hurricane, that'll be game over. He does reveal to be Scarfed there, going first with the U-turn, which I still didn't know if he was Scarfed at that point, but yeah. So 17 turn battle here in the QDL. This dock is so great. Yeah, so your Seattle Pidgeots are 2-0 with a +5 differential, with a 1-0 and a 4-0 to start the season. Next week, we take on this guy, the Florida Phalanx and Purple Cheese. He's got a Dragovish, which is kind of scary, and looks like he's got kind of a Trick Room team, to be honest. Mimikyu, Hoopa, Mr. Rhyme, and Grimmsnarl with the Dragovish. It's kind of scary. But yeah. GG to my man Tempura Boys. Make sure you go check out week 1 or the draft analysis if you're just seeing this for the first time. I will link those in the end card here. And yeah, if you're new, click subscribe. Leave a comment on what you think of the season so far. I think it's gone really good. Really happy with the team, and yeah, I will see you guys for IBL week 5. Should be coming out before the week is over, and then QDL week 3 as well. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Click like and click sub and leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.